Yes, you're welcome again to VOV Live Fires. I've been having conversation with the Holy Branch, and today I have with me one of the trustees. John Mullen is one of the trustees of the Holy Branch, and we're going to be talking, John, on a few things with regards to the Holy Branch, the vision, the core values, the source of support. But let me just start by you telling the audience, who is John?
Oh, me? Wow, that's easy. Hi, I'm John Mullen. I'm one of the trustees for the Olive Branch. I'm just somebody who helps to get things done. There's always jobs in the background, and there's always jobs on the foreground, but it's literally get your hands dirty.
Great, I love that. I love that, John. We will start by talking about the core values. Every organization have a core values. I know Olive Branch, Faith in Action. They are into a lot of things. Some people think they're just a food bank. Some people think they're just listening to people. What would you say the core values? What defines the Olive Branch?
The Olive Branch is a place for people to walk through the door because they don't know where else to go. It's always been a place where you get such a variety of people, and some of them are lost. Some of them have just fallen through the cracks. Some of them just need space to sit down and just to find a place of peace, because everybody can get to a stage where life isn't making sense anymore. So we want to meet those people and help them to go searching for peace. And sometimes they need help, sometimes they need space, sometimes they need food, sometimes they just need to find out who to speak to sort out problems for them. Listening. So would you say listening is part of what you do? Listening is probably at least 80, maybe even 90% of the service that the Olive Branch provides.
And listening, what do you think it does to people? People that you've listened to people, in the last couple of years now. Okay, Olive Branch is 18 years this year. People that you have listened to, what do you think has happened to them over the years?
I'll tell you a story. One gentleman came through the door, and he was really quiet, really lost in himself. He didn't know what to do, and he came through the door, and literally all we did in the first instance was to give him a seat, offer him a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Wow.
I actually found out a lot more about him over the coming year. In that first instance, he didn't want to talk. He didn't have the capacity to talk. But what had actually happened to him was he had actually been thrown out of the house by his wife, and they had become so frustrated with each other. And 1 year later, he came and found me. He said he'd been looking for me for more than a week. And he came and found me and said, "Thank you for giving me the time to just to quieten the voices within his head, because everything was chaos for him on that day that he first walked in. He didn't know where to start, but he knew that he needed a place of peace, a place of refuge, so that he could start to make sense of all the bits and pieces which had happened to him.
So John, it's amazing what listening can do to someone who is in a position who cannot even talk.
Yes.
He can't even verbalize his problem, his issues. But just finding a place for him to sit and having a cup of tea and maybe some biscuits, he's starting to make sense of where he is, and then he's able to move forward. I think that's a great value for every organization, maybe non-profit or profit at all. Let me just go to the next one on my mind. How do you secure support? Where does it come from? Because what I noticed about the Holy Branch, people go there for advice, budgeting, how to manage their phones, struggling families, people that are homeless, people that are in addiction. How do you get support for all this?
One of the things which we have sought to promote from the very beginning is the support through both churches and other local organizations, especially the schools, because we can't rely on big grants or big amounts of money from, like the lottery fund, because if you rely on big lumps of money coming in, that money runs out sooner or later. And also, at the end of the period of time, quite often they will change their mind, or their criteria, policy changes will have, and you won't be included at that point in time. You're not in their focus. So the biggest thing is trying to build up the local support. Sometimes it might be a few pounds. It might be the price of a coffee that somebody gives, maybe once a month. Sometimes that's just a one-off donation which they give. But all of those little amounts of money add up to being really, really significant. Currently, about 50, maybe slightly more, percent of our income comes from local donations.
Wow.
And we're so pleased with that, but we actually want to increase that because we would rather support the local people, even those who are asylum seekers, because they are also building up a local community. So the more that we can look after the local community, the more that there is respect and love and a caring for those who have fallen flat on their face.
I was going to talk about challenges. What are the challenges now? Because there are, there are, two sides to it. You are thriving in one area, and then you need this to happen just like yesterday. What are the challenges that the Holy Branch is going through now at the moment?
One of the big things which has actually been really good coming out of COVID is that a lot of the charities and local support groups are working together much more closely. They're actually realizing that different people have resources which aren't necessarily being used all of the time. But that the more that they talk together, the more that they know each other, the more that they trust and start to walk alongside each other. So that's one big element.
That's partnership.
Definitely.
Good.
And that's both from the charity level right up through the local council and anybody else in between. The other challenge for us at the moment is we've actually been looking for premises for the last 2-3 years. And actually we've been looking for somewhere that is which we might classify as perfect. But we haven't found the perfect premises yet. There's always something which is slightly different. There's always a struggle to get it right. And maybe it's that we're on a continuous development cycle. Maybe we'll jump between premises every 2 or 3 years, because we don't actually want to grow, but we want to provide more services.
When you mean premises, John, can you shed more light? Can you tell me more about it? Do you mean that where you are now, you want to relocate? Is it too small? Is it not, meeting the needs now?
Currently, we're across 2 sites. One is a warehouse, and one is a meeting place and offices. It would be so much more convenient, so much more streamlined, so much easier to manage if all of that was on one site. But we have to be in a place which is accessible to the guests or the people who come to see us. Because if we're in a warehouse, a mile away from the city centre, we'll have a lot less people coming through, if any at all. But it's very hard to find a warehouse in the middle of the city. So it's trying to balance out the volume of storage that we need and the space that we need to welcome people. Because we're not just a food bank.
Good. We need to clarify that, because John, most people think when you talk about the olive branch, they think it's just a food bank.
No, it's not. It's a meeting place. It's a place for resources. It's a place for connecting, bringing in other organizations so that people will see, oh, there's a personal face on the front of those organizations. We can talk to them. Because every different organization, you walk through the front door, your first thought is, what's going on? I don't know what to do in this situation. Whereas if the olive branch is already the friendly face, the face which is there to show care and love for those people, then if other people are walking alongside us, providing services, that will be transferable between the organizations. So the biggest thing is we just don't want to miss the people who are falling through the cracks. And at the moment, there's an awful lot of people struggling, whether it be energy, whether it be benefits, whether it be budgeting, whether it be the breakdown of their families. That could be because of debt. There's addiction, homelessness. There's all sorts of reasons. But we want to give them a place where they can find refuge.
Yeah, John, thank you very much for that. And let me just go straight to the next one. I feel people need to know more about how to get involved. Now, I know a couple of churches are part of the Olive Branch, supporting them, working in partnership with them. How can individuals, somebody watching now, wants to get involved? I really want to be part of Olive Branch. I love what they do. They listen to people. They help the people who are struggling from addiction. Families are having issues and all. They want to get involved. Maybe being partner. They want to donate or they want to volunteer. How can they just connect? How can they be part of a Olive Branch?
Donating can be done in a number of forms. Obviously, financial. That can be done through the Olive Branch website, www.the-olivebranch.org.uk. You can also donate food, and the biggest thing is tins. We struggle with fresh food because fresh food goes off.
You have to preserve it. You struggle to preserve them.
Yes, whereas tinned items will last for years. So food donations are very, very welcome at any point in the year.
If anyone wants to volunteer?
For volunteering, we actually won't turn 99.9% of people away. We want people to be able to come and walk alongside us.
Yes.
Yes, we are a Christian charity, but there's no way on earth that we will shove that down your throat. That's being nice about it.
That's cool.
We are there to walk alongside people who have made a mistake, who have tripped and fallen over. Just like there was a saint from, I think it's the 400s, St. Augustus. He said, "But for the grace of God, there go I." And he was looking at somebody who had tripped over and fallen on the side of the road. Any of us can make a mistake. Doesn't matter how well off you are, money can disappear overnight. Doesn't matter what your family's like, whether it be hard, rough, smooth, gentle, kind, loving, things happen overnight. We want to walk alongside these people, and that also includes the volunteers. We're looking for volunteers who will walk alongside us. So you don't have to be from a church background, you just have to have a big heart and willing to listen.
Great. Yeah, John, just as we conclude this conversation, what do you think the biggest thing you are looking up to as an organization, the Olive Branch? What do you think, what are the plans for the future, especially considering the current economic climate, knowing that you might have some more people who might want to come in? What are you looking at in the new year?
Yes, of course, we're looking for new premises, but the biggest issue is this whole thing about working together and being a place where it's a resource centre for the city. Because we can't, yes, we try to predict what is going on. Yes, we try to work out where people are struggling, but we want to be a centre of resources, so working together with more organisations. But the two biggest things which we're aware of at the moment is trying to help people with their budgeting, because everybody's running short of money because the price of absolutely everything is going up. But the other area which we're very aware of is that it's actually affecting the lower income families with kids. We don't want the kids to be on the hard end of this situation. So whatever we can do, we want to help the families, and they're our biggest concern at the moment.
Thank you very much, John, for having this conversation with me. I have been having a conversation with John Mullen, the trustee for the Olive Branch in Lancaster. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the VOV Live Fires. Hope to connect soon. Thank you.